Hello, everyone. We are in our fourth session of the dialogue now, and I'm super happy to be here again in front of everyone with the same people, but we also have a new person who's joining us today. I have met him, Vu, from one of the volunteer program here in Vietnam, and he's kind of like, he really is so passionate about kids, and I'm also passionate about being with kids and helping them out. So I would love Vu to introduce himself and what calls him out to be here with us today.
There's time for that. Not much to say, but I really come from a very small village. It's so quiet and peaceful to the west of Hoi An. I'm trying to make a small project for the kids to encourage the habit of reading from inside of them, not just read, and they have to know that in their free time they spend the time for reading, not too much for the phone or the internet. I think that's the best way. And secondly, that I want to try to help the parent to have a chance to look back some picture, the video for the moment that their kids are playing at my place, that they will see them again when they go into work, or just some feeling that has lost when they cannot see that their kids are playing. They are so nature, they're so themselves. That's the most thing I want to do.
Yes, and that's a very beautiful intention that you are creating these programs for the kids, because the last session, Douglas, we were talking about how important creativity is when it comes to like expressing oneself, right? So with us today in this fourth session, I am with Eva as well. Can you tell us more about whatever you have taken away from the previous sessions or whatever comes up?
Sure, thank you. Yeah, so it's I'm lucky to be here for the fourth time. So I've been here the previous 3 sessions, and these 3 weeks have been pretty turbulent for me, like lots of inner stuff coming up. So I come from Russia, and a couple of months ago I moved to Hoi An. So the first time I came here was a bit over a year ago. I stayed the first 8 months. It was a gradual decision to come and stay here. And the first month felt so liberating. Now it was like my inner self was finally able to emerge, because I think I left everything I didn't want to deal with back in Russia, and I feel like it often happens with immigration. And it was like a split. I mean, splitting has been a lot on my mind lately. And now that I made a decision to like come here and stay, I feel like it's all dragging with me, and it's a good thing because it's about integration. But yeah, it's I feel like I've been through this roller coaster these past weeks, and I'm very grateful for these conversations, because partly I guess it helps to untangle some things, to get grounded, to get some real-time feedback from people through a conversation. So yeah, this is me today.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for sharing about yourself, Vu. I really appreciate having you two here. And of course, we have our elder Douglas, who is the reason why we are here to untangle and reflect and learn out from, because of course you have more experience when it comes to like the self-development, self-awareness, self-acceptance, that also could make us feel like living life in the okayness of who we are.
Yeah.
So I would give you.
Yeah, thank you, Kathy. Yeah, there are certain themes that really come out of ideas that have developed for me over years, being a psychotherapist and sitting with people as they grapple with challenges and problems that are part of their life. And in 2018, I wrote actually what turned into 3 books, and one of the books that I wrote is kind of part of the theme of what we're doing here. So it's called Living from the Inside Out, It's how self-awareness, which is a lot of what we're talking about, can lead or develop into self-acceptance, which for me is a very high aspiration. When we accept ourselves, we say, I am okay as I am, not perfect, that's for sure, but I accept myself as I am. And then there's a kind of freedom to live in a creative or a more natural way, an authentic way. So most of us have to grapple with what are the limitations that keep us from being self-accepting, and so self-awareness is what we look at to discover, well, what is that? So you're creating a space for children so they can be natural, they can play, they can read books for the joy and pleasure of reading, not because they're supposed to remember or some detail. Okay, so it's a very good example of how it is we understand what children need, and how it is as adults we provide the space for that. Okay, and Eva's coming today saying, well, I'm not yet free from the influences of the past, of the place and the people and the ways in which I carry with me, even to the place I'm very happy to be, some of what has made life difficult for me. Okay, and so yes, this is a conversation that's about let's get real and let's open it up in an organic way, a natural way. We don't have a script. We have some ideas, but each person can listen to each other and then offer what it is that's coming up. You know, this is the first time we're meeting after we got to watch the videos. So we're also a little bit nervous now because we saw ourselves on the camera, and even though our videographer and his team is very professional and we look good, we also might feel, oh, but maybe I did this wrong or something. So yeah, it's okay. We're going to just try to be as comfortable and as natural as we can.
And that also kind of like highlight a part of myself. For example, that yeah. I feel like I'm authentic enough to be who I am wherever I am. Yeah. But the moment you see yourself outside, like in a zoom out perspective, there's still a lot of voices coming up. Like, oh, this hasn't been here since I watched this, and there's a lot of criticism. But I try to also be aware about who let's just say, whose voice is this? Yeah. Was it my mom telling me that I have to, as what you have mentioned about the things that you also experienced while the video came out? Is there anything that could actually help us be more aware about these limitations, these voices, not being good enough about what we're doing right now?
What a great question and a great way to start the conversation. Self-consciousness often runs our thoughts through the filter of an external perspective. Okay? So the name of the book is Living from the Inside Out. But most of us are taught that we need to please someone else, or we need to listen to what they're telling us about ourselves, sometimes in a very critical way, judgmental way. And often those external voices, our mother, our grandmother, our father, our teacher, our neighbor, okay, they become internal. So we start by, as a child, taking the lesson from the people outside us, and then those voices can become our own voice. But it's the opposite of living from the inside out. It's living from the outside in. And I think it's one of the very big changes that we can make on the road to self-acceptance, okay, is reducing the degree to which those voices are influencing how we feel about ourselves. I say caring less. I don't say don't care at all, but care less what other people think. Okay? Care less. Care more about what I feel, about what feels right for me. Now there's two areas that this can be very important. One is image, how we look, how we appear, all the judgments we have about that idea of ourselves. And the other is our performance, which is not the physical look, but it's the way we act. And we can become very focused on image and performance, and those are really one layer less authentic than just not caring. How do I look or how do I act? I'm just being who I am, you see. So letting go of that part of ourself is a step towards self-acceptance. Allowing ourselves to feel human. A little bit, dumb sometimes, or a little bit, whatever, you know. It's allowing ourselves to be human.
I share something here because maybe a bit over a week ago, I had a very interesting experience in my therapy session, which I feel like is directly related to what you were saying. I've been in Gestalt therapy for around almost 4 years now, actually. And that was probably one of the hardest sessions I've ever had. So for almost all the 50 minutes that I have, I've been speaking to my therapist from the position of my mother. So it was the interject of my mother talking, the internal mother speaking. That was very interesting. That was very weird. That was incredibly hard. And I realized that, a part of me caring so much about how other people see me, perceive my image, judge my performance. So this is also her painful, her weakness, her trauma. And that exercise, I'm not sure if it's possible outside of a therapeutic relationship, because sure, you can sit in a chair and pretend that you're the mother, but it was very important to have another person mirror that all back to me. But I gained so much insight into, first how she feels. Of course, this is from my perspective, this is still my brain, it's not her, but I felt so much more compassionate and understanding towards her after that. And also I felt that I was stripped bare of that performer, the narcissistic performing part, to the extent that I felt like I have no idea who I am. That triggered a lot of processes and actually quite a strong anxiety, I believe, because I felt like I know very little about myself. So if I take that part away, what's left? So I guess that's another question. I feel like it's a very difficult task as it is to start caring less about these external voices and care more about the authentic wanting. But also there is this problem of and what do you want? And it takes time to discover it. Yeah. And if you just remove the external, it creates a void. And it's both very interesting and challenging to experience that void.
What a great question and a great experience for you to be able to see how it is that your mother was a strong influence on how you perceive yourself, and how that is still a very active part of your inner life. Okay, all of us are influenced by what our parents think of us and what they communicate to us. Because when we're born, we depend on them 100%. Okay, that separateness is not yet developed. In fact, we're born from being one with our mother, right? We come from being her. And we're born into the world, and we're not ready to be autonomous and separate and independent, okay? And that's the role of the parent, to create the safety, the playful energy, to allow a child to discover, who am I? Okay. Now, of course, the older we get, the more we claim our autonomy, our separateness, okay? Our ability to decide for ourselves or think about what do I like, what do I want, you know? But when we continually factor in, but what does my mother think? Or what does my father think about that? Then we're compromising in a way. You see, it's an ideal that parents can hand responsibility step by step all the way through childhood and then go, now you're ready for adulthood. That's an ideal. The reality is messy. Okay, and so often our parents have a lot of influence on the day when we're supposed to be adults, but we're not yet independent or confident in what that means. Of course, this can be different in different cultures too, because it might not only be our parents that have the idea of what we should be or how we should be. It can come from our family, a big family, or our culture. What we're getting at here is the need for autonomy, and how autonomy is a gradual process. And I know that you feel like, oh, but I don't know who I am. I'll tell you two things. Number one, you're there. That inner child is still there, is still going, okay, it's there. It might feel like a void, but actually, no. There's part of you that's very much you. You just have to get comfortable with that. And the second thing is, you're 28, right? You're a very young adult, okay? You don't have very many years of adulthood to find out, oh, this is who I am when I'm now adult, you know? You see, and so you can feel like, oh, I should know, or, you know. But actually, I think your process is one where this discovery, it takes time. I would say I was about 43 when I sort of came to all of these moving parts to say, now I bear the responsibility for myself. Now I know more what it means to be myself. Okay, that many years into adulthood, before that sense of real autonomy, real separation and responsibility can occur. So, all right.
Yeah. So that's also one of the things that I would love to. Because you, Vu, one of the things that I really love being in the space, what you're doing with the kids, it's because you are allowing them to be.